What's happening, everybody? Trey here, and today a reactions to the classics. I'm going to be reacting to Ozzy Osbourne's debut solo album, Blizzard of Oz. I want to shout out a longtime friend and patron of the channel, Carl, for suggesting this for me today. I've gone through all of Sabbath's records and a couple with Dio that Carl suggested, and now we're going to switch over to a little Ozzy solo stuff. So I'm excited to just dive in, man. And so with that said, let's get into the quick facts of this record. As I noted, this is his debut album, released in September 1980 in the UK, March in 81 in the US. Always a little odd whenever there is such a big gap from both sides of the pond, but hey, it is what it is. The album was Osbourne's first release following his firing from Sabbath in '79, which I detailed out in the quick facts of the last Sabbath album. And so if you want to hear more on that, you can go check those or any other Sabbath reactions you want to out after this video. Blizzard of Oz is the first of two studio albums Osbourne recorded with the great guitarist Randy Rhoads prior to his death in 1982. 2017, it was ranked 9th on Rolling Stone's list of 100 greatest metal albums of all time. Went to 7 in the UK, 21 in the States. Much of the album was written by the aforementioned Randy Rhoads, bassist Bob Daisley, and Ozzy in a live-in rehearsal facility in Monmouth, Wales. After auditioning several drummers, ex-Uriah Heep member Lee Kerslake was hired as the permanent drummer. The completed lineup retreated to Clearwell Castle for 6 days to rehearse and give Kerslake an opportunity to learn the new songs. Hey, no pressure there, right? We'll give you a week to do this. A week later, they traveled to Ridge Farm Studio to commence recording. Keyboardist Don Airey claims that parts of Revelation Mother Earth, as well as the intro to Mr. Crowley, were written by him in the studio, though he never received a writing credit. At the time of the recording, the band itself was billed as the Blizzard of Oz. The band members were expecting the album to be credited to the band with Osbourne's name in smaller print, just as it appeared on the Crazy Train single released several days prior. The back cover of the first pressing of the Crazy Train single stated that the track came from a forthcoming Jet Records album entitled Ozzy Osbourne / Blizzard of Oz Volume 1. In fact, when the band appeared at the Reading Festival in 1980, they were billed simply as Ozzy Osbourne's new band. According to Daisley, quote, "When the album was released, the words Ozzy Osbourne were in bigger print than The Blizzard of Oz, which made it look like an Ozzy Osbourne album called The Blizzard of Oz." Randy Rhoads was never one to rock the boat. He knew he was in a situation which was a good opportunity for him, being relatively unknown. So when Lee Kerslake and I were ousted, Randy had no allies, and the act became Ozzy Osbourne and no longer a band. Rhoads felt like he and Daisley were contributing the vast majority of the songwriting and arrangement, and he had little interest in performing in a backing band for someone he felt wasn't contributing as much. Drummer Kerslake has maintained that Rhoads almost left the band in '81 due to his displeasure. Quote, "He didn't want to go on tour with Ozzy. We told him we were thrown out. He said he was going to leave the band as he did not want to leave us behind. I told him not to be stupid, but thanks for the sentiment," the drummer noted. Entertainment attorney Stephen Macat, who was involved in the deal Osbourne signed with Jet Records, said in his 2011 book, Gods, Gangsters, and Honor, A Rock and Roll Odyssey, that Osbourne's soon-to-be manager and wife, Sharon Levy, was not happy with the level of creativity input that Rhoads, Daisley, and Kerslake had in the Blizzard of Oz album, and did not want them to share the credit. Album producer Max Norman concurs that Daisley and Kerslake made considerable songwriting contributions during their time in the band, while also noting that the Osbourne camp, quote, "might want to dispute that now." Then we have another little interesting tidbit for you all. So there was a reissue of this in 2002. So in 1986, Daisley and Kerslake sued Ozzy for unpaid royalties, eventually winning songwriting credits on Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. Subsequently, a 2002 reissue was made of these records, which replaced Kerslake and Daisley's original bass and drum parts with new parts recorded by Ozzy's then current drummer Mike Borden and bassist Robert Trujillo. The 2002 reissue also included new backing vocals from singers Mark Lemmon and John Shanks. Sharon claimed at the time that it was Ozzy, not she, who was responsible for the decision to re-record the parts, stating, quote, "Because of Daisley and Kerslake's abusive and unjust behavior, Ozzy wanted to remove them from the recordings. We turned a negative into a positive by adding a fresh sound to the albums. However, Ozzy contradicted this in his biography in 2009, stating that the decision to re-record the bass and drum parts was Sharon's decision and then he, quote, didn't have anything to do with it. He said his wife, quote, just snapped and had it done without his knowledge. He also stated that, quote, a sticker was put on the covers telling everyone about it. Although the sticker was not initially placed on the reissue, it was only placed on the covers at a later date due to the fan outcry. In 2003, Daisley and Kerslake's lawsuit was dismissed in LA. With regard to the reissue, Ozzy stated to the Pulse of the Radio, reiterating a combo with Sharon, quote, you know what, whatever the circumstances were, I want the original thing back. The 30th anniversary release of Blizzard of Oz and Diary contains the original recordings, not the '02 reissue. So, with that said, I know that was a lot, y'all, but I thought that was a pretty interesting backstory here. And bands and songwriting credits, where is credit due? That's always been a hot topic for debate, right? So with that said, y'all, we're gonna get into this. For a lot of the Sabbath stuff, I've been able to put most of the album up. However, anytime we play any of Ozzy's solo tunes on our live streams that happen every Monday and Wednesdays, they seem to get blocked worldwide. So the music very well will probably not be in the video you're watching right now. However, there is a Vimeo link down below in the description. If you want the full meal deal with all the music included, that is there free of charge for you. Shout out to all the patrons who help support the channel, like Carl. And with that said, man, you like the video, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. We upload videos every single day here. But with that, let's get into this record, man. We have, starting off the album, I Don't Know, depicts the confusion and sadness Osbourne felt after he was fired from Sabbath. This can be seen with lyrics like, quote, how do I know I got left behind, from the first verse. So I'm going to have the lyrics pulled up, just take and enjoy the song, and then give my thoughts after the fact. So let's get our Blizzard of Oz on, people. All right, I Don't Know, kicking off this record with a bang here, people. Say what you want about Ozzy, but boy, he knew how to team up with a legendary guitarist, right? Coming from Tony Iommi, one of my favorites, to now Randy Rhoads, who just crushed it with that real crunchy, repetitive, catchy riff right there, and then killed it with a solo in the middle of the song too. I liked how in the bridge we went to a little different key change and lightened up a little bit. Was not expecting that after the heaviness of the first few minutes, and then towards the end of the track we go back to that great riff right there, man. And Ozzy, of course, you can read between the lines saying how he didn't really know about the how the Sabbath partnership was coming to an end. He says, don't ask me, I don't know. Nobody ever told me, I found out for myself. You got to believe in foolish miracles. It's not how you play the game. It's if you win or lose, you can choose. Don't confuse win or lose. It's up to you. So I think a little bit there too, like, okay, I'm not just going to sit on the sidelines now that I'm done with Sabbath. I'm going to go out and create my own stuff and see what happens. So I thought a great way to kick this album off, man. And that segues us into Ozzy's most famous solo tune. We have Crazy Train, of course. I feel most people already know this song, or people my age range, if they know one Ozzy song, it's this one right here. It was the lead single, went to 49 in the UK, surprisingly did not chart in the States. Lyrics deal with the subject of the Cold War and the fear of annihilation that existed during the period. It was rated the 9th greatest guitar solo ever by the readers of Guitar World magazine in 2021, and topped Metal Hammer's readers poll of the top 50 Ozzy Osbourne songs, with the magazine informing that it is Ozzy's most played song, with over 1,150 live performances, over 18 million plays on YouTube, and more than 500 million on Spotify here. In 2023, Rolling Stone ranked it the 6th on their list of 100 greatest heavy metal songs ever. Bob Daisley said, quote, before it was called Crazy Train, before we even had a title, Randy and I were working on the music. We had his effects pedal, and coming through his amp was a weird kind of chugging sound. It was a phasey kind of psychedelic effect, this chugging sound that was coming through his amp and from his effects pedal. Randy was into trains. He used to collect model trains, and so did I. I've always been into a train buff, and so was Randy. So I said, Randy, that sounds like a train, but it sounds nuts. And I said, a crazy train. So there you go, people. There's the backstory on that Crazy Train. And man, I'm very familiar with this song, and it's gonna be a treat to hear it again. Crazy Train. Whew. What an iconic track, right? And as I was noting in the reaction, no matter how many times you hear Randy Rhoads' epic guitar solo, it never gets old, man. Yeah, what a talent. He is the star of this song, to be sure. I love the way, of course, it starts too with the ah ha ha ha, darn. Dan, I mean, just one of the more iconic openings to really any song, in my opinion, and then it just builds from there with the epic guitar work. Ozzy, of course, is on fire with his vocals. The lyrics pretty underrated on this too, I think, because the chorus is so undeniable, as is that guitar work, and even Daisley's and Kerslake on the rhythm section there. Everybody's firing on all cylinders, but I do like what Ozzy is saying, of course, about the Cold War at the time, and he even notes, I've watched all the dropouts who make their own rules. One person conditioned to rule and control. The media sells it, and you live the role. Man, not much has changed, right? I mean, it is one of the great, I think, metal songs of all time. It deserves its acclaim, man. What an iconic track, and have that be second, man. That's it's a tough one to follow, but we're gonna go now to Goodbye to Romance, which I've also heard. I believe of one of our friends in the live stream, Patrick, has brought this to me, but it was the first track written for this record, actually. First song that Osbourne and Randy Rhoads completed together. Ozzy stated that the song was his way of saying farewell to his former band, Black Sabbath. He also said the song title came from a line in a 1957 Everly Brothers song, Bye Bye Love. Not known for being a great lyricist, Ozzy actually wrote this with Randy Rhoads and Bob Daisley. Daisley said, quote, Ozzy was fairly easy to work with. He was a bit down at first because he'd just been fired from Sabbath and he was depressed and unsure. It really damaged his confidence being fired from the group, as I would imagine. So with that said, man, let's get it. All right, how do you follow Crazy Train? Well, you go a little ballad, you get a little emotional here, and that's what we have on Goodbye to Romance. I've only heard this song, I think, once or twice, so it was good to hear in its album context, and I always enjoy when Ozzy decides to go a little ballad action, changes a great Sabbath tune that is in that vein. And of course, he's just, putting his heart on his sleeve, so to speak. Having those self-doubts about himself. Everyone's having fun except me. I'm the lonely one. I live in shame. I've been the king. He was at the top with Sabbath. I've been the clown. I've been fired, man. Now broken wings can't hold me down. I'm free again. The jester with the broken crown. It won't be me this time around to love in vain. And then, of course, that slow and steady chorus. Goodbye to romance. Goodbye to friends. Randy Rhoads in here again has a nice, short and sweet solo that I think did a good job conveying that heartbreak emotion, while also kind of looking for the hope of what's next on the horizon that Ozzy was detailing in the lyrics right here, man. So we're 3 for 3 so far on this record right now. And we are going to go now to a short and sweet instrumental called D, only 50 seconds long. Randy Rhoads wrote this one. And then after that, we'll just segue right into the final song on the first side here, Suicide Solution. Various interviews have Ozzy stating that he wrote the song about deceased AC/DC singer Bon Scott. Bob Daisley has claimed that he actually wrote the lyrics about Ozzy and his excesses at the time. Ozzy tells the story of how he and Randy created the song, though, in his autobiography, saying, quote, we were at a party for a band called Wild Horses at John Henry's, a rehearsal studio in London. Everyone else was effed up on one thing or another, but Randy was sitting in a corner experimenting with riffs on his Flying V, and all of a sudden he just went, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I shouted over, whoa, Randy, what was that? He just shrugged. I told him to play what he just played. Then I started to sing this lyric I've had in my head for a while. Wine is fine, but whiskey's quicker. Suicide is slow with liquor. And that was it. Most of the song was written right there. The night ended with everyone on stage jamming. Oh boy, I wish we had footage of that there, people. So let's get this 1-2 punch going underway. All right, man, what a way to end this first side here. Starting with D, just a very pretty acoustic, instrumental from Randy Rhoads right there. I wish it would have lasted longer than 50 seconds, man. But then it takes us to the heavy-hitting Suicide Solution right here, which again had that heaviness to it in the riff in particular, which you need for a song of this subject matter, right, man? As a counselor, I appreciated the way that Ozzy, it just showed how, from the first line, wine is fine, but whiskey's quicker. Suicide is slow with liquor, and just how this person, drowns more of their sorrows into the bottle, right? And yet that only leads you oftentimes to more issues down the road, right? And then you get yourself in a rut, can't get yourself out. Oh man, and that's what we get in that chorus, because your life feels unreal and you're living a lie. Such a shame, who's to blame? And you're wondering why. I just thought that these lyrics were fantastic from Ozzy here. And again, I mean, instrumentation with this lineup from Daisley and Rhodes and Kerslake, along with Ozzy, they are doing a bang up job on this whole record, man. I'm really enjoying this album, and we're gonna go to the next track, one that again I've heard maybe once or twice. It already has the heart treatment here. I think it was another one brought on a live stream. We have Mr. Crowley. A live version was released as a UK single in November 1980, went to 46. The studio version was released as a single here in North America in 1981. The song begins with a keyboard solo by Don Airey. Quote, "I just cleared the band out of the studio and said, come back in half an hour. Ozzy came back, heard it, and said, you just plugged into my head, man." The first guitar solo by Randy Rhoads became one of his best known. It was ranked 28th on the list of best guitar solos by the readers of Guitar World. It's a song in which Ozzy sings about Edward Aleister Crowley's life as an occultist. Ozzy was and still is criticized and called a Satanist by many Christian groups that didn't understand what he was thinking. In his Rolling Stone interview, he talked about it, quote, "I never did the black magic stuff. The reason I did Mr. Crowley on my first album was that everybody was talking about Aleister Crowley. Jimmy Page bought his house, and one of my roadies worked with one of his roadies. I thought, Mr. Crowley, who are you? Where are you from?" But people would hear the song and go, he's definitely into witchcraft. All right, Mr. Crowley, tell me if you heard this one before. Randy Rhoads absolutely crushed it on this song, man. So creative, so engaging in the way he just composes his solos, and yet it feels so effortless whenever you're listening to it. And yet, obviously you have to have just an insane amount of talent to do it. The fact he's only, I believe, 22, maybe 23, whenever he recorded this album is all the more impressive. Just a big musical tragedy. We lost him at 25, but boy, he made his mark in this song and in this whole record so far, man. Really love that outro right there, and of course his solo, and then of course you have the keyboard solo at the start as well by Don Airey, which gives a different feel musically than we've heard of, up to this point on the record. And so, man, I thought that was great. And then, yeah, just Ozzy here, asking questions of Mr. Crowley, and, just coming with a level of curiosity while not admiring him, but just, having some of that curiosity right there and noting the tragedy of it all at the end, man. So all in all, what an epic heavy metal song right here, man. There's really no misses on this album up to this point, man. What a great record. We have a few songs left. We're going now to No Bone Movies. This is an up-tempo track that tells the story about X-rated movies that used to be shown in movie theaters, here referred to as bone movies, a term used by Randy Rhoads and his friends. Right, No Bone Movies, a bit of a cheeky track right here, man. Again, just talking about that silver screen. Our guy here, a blue addiction. I live in disgust, degradation. I'm being eaten by lust. We just got the short and sweet chorus. No Bone Movies. Just kind of has a bit of a that classic rock type feel in the chorus for sure. Still solid musicianship all around, even if this isn't one I'd put as like a favorite track. It was fun for what it was, for sure, man. And so now we're gonna go to Revelation, Mother Earth, and so this is the longest song on the record right here, so let's check it out. Right, Revelation, Mother Earth, a jam-packed song musically right here, man. We had a bit of everything, very doom and gloom sounding, especially as the song was going on with the lyrics right there. You had the bells kind of tolling. Again, strong guitar work by Randy Rhoads. Not that that's a surprise. We had Don Airey at the end, just bringing forth a pretty lengthy keyboard section, and and then finishing it off again, bringing a nice heavy riff to the track right here. Definitely that ending instrumental. It went around 3 minutes. I think it had that air of almost an apocalyptic type of feel to it. It was kind of just again the word doom just kind of keeps putting coming to mind right here. And here Ozzy talks, of course, of Mother Earth. He pleads to Mother Earth here, please forgive them, for they know not what they do. looking back in history's books, it seems like it's nothing new. Oh, let my mother live. And then he says, Father of all creation. I think we're all going wrong. He's, placing the blame on humanity itself, and how they are destroying the earth that we all live on, right? And so towards the end, he notes he had a vision. I saw the world burn and the seas that turned red. Again, kind of going into that Revelation, biblical apocalyptic imagery right there, which I thought worked well for the track for sure. That's one I'm going to need to revisit. Not that I thought it was bad, but there was just there's so much going on, man. I appreciated the effort there for sure. And so now we're going to finish the album off with Steal Away the Night. All right, Blizzard of Oz closing really strong with Steal Away the Night, just a fun, solid rocker right here. I feel, this is a pretty heavy album with some of the subject matter, and, so I feel that they wanted to end it on a bit of a lighter note, so to speak. You got to steal away the night, baby. Let's get it flowing. Let that love will flow like wine tonight. Give your love and it will come to you. If you feel that, you and me could escape and hold the key to a paradise that's true and free. Hey, man, I can get behind that idea right there. And again, just a really creative, catchy riff from Rhodes right here, and just a tight instrumental band performance, and one that I thought worked perfect as a closer right here. So yeah, that was a fun one, man. And so now to my favorite tracks and overall score of Blizzard of Oz. What do we got here, people? Man, favorite tracks have to be, of course, Crazy Train. That's got to be a given, right? The ballad Goodbye to Romance. Mr. Crowley's got to be up there, and I thought Suicide Solution was really impressive as well. But man, I really enjoyed this album. As we go now to my overall thoughts and score, I'm sure, Ozzy put a lot of pressure on himself coming off of Sabbath, right? Because I'm sure a lot of people are going to be listening. And so what am I going to come up with? What am I going to do to make my mark as a solo artist right here? And he comes out with Blizzard of Oz, and he came out guns a-blazing, so to speak, man, because I thought this album was incredible. Randy Rhoads is a big portion of that. His fingerprints are obviously throughout this whole record. Some epic, legendary, solos that are still acclaimed to this day, and for good reason. But I thought the whole band, with Daisley on the bass, was really good. The little cameo appearances from Don Airey also were impressive, and so I thought the variety of sound, the subject matter, everything from to taking care of the earth to the pitfalls of drugs to those X-rated movies, right? To Aleister Crowley, to the Cold War. Like, you had a lot of different subject matter on there. Kept me engaged throughout the whole record. I thought the lyrics were a step up than what Ozzy usually does, and so I thought his vocals were on point, man. So really great album. I'm feeling after first listen, I'm gonna be at an 8.5, dude. I'm going 8.5 first listen for me. I thought this album was fantastic, and it was tight, concise, 9 songs, really 8 if you throw out the instrumental that was less than a minute, and it flowed really well. I really dug it. So let me know your favorites and your thoughts on Blizzard of Oz down in the comments section below, and I will be back with Diary of a Madman as well for another one of our patrons, Kev, who suggested it. So I will be filming that in the next couple weeks and getting it up here on the channel as well. So really have enjoyed the Sabbath and now this Ozzy journey. If you want to check out any of our Sabbath videos or any of our other near 2,500 videos on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel in any way, check out our Patreon page, link below along with the end screen. And I guess y'all, until next time, thanks so much for watching, happy listening, and I will see you.